Thorpe Abbotts was a small village in east-central England and was listed in the Domesday Book of 1085. Thorpe was derived from the Danish word for a farmstead or hamlet. Abbotts refers to the ownership by the abbots of Bury St. Edmunds. A friendly invasion occurred in 1942, and it transformed the rural landscape. The invaders were 50,000 young Americans, part of the US Army Air Corps. It's no exaggeration to say that this had the biggest cultural and landscape impact of any event there since the Norman conquest of 1066. It was once miles of concrete, hastily constructed structures, and B-17 flying fortress is once again wheat fields. Only a few World War II era buildings remain. Hundreds of miles of concrete were laid in a matter of months, and it took 250,000 tons of concrete to build one runway. But the 100th Bomb Group Museum at Thorpe Abbotts has kept the memory of the bloody 100th alive.
The print of this airbase has not changed. If you brought the boys back to 1944, they would have known exactly where you are and who's what and where's where. Directly behind us is the site hospital. So you'd have had and young Ron, and then the control tower's up there on the left-hand side. Oh, bless his heart. Yeah. Here he is. This is the founding father, or one of the founding fathers of the Thorpe Abbotts Museum. There's my bike.
Yeah. Welcome to Thorpe Abbotts. You probably have heard something about it. And yeah, well, we're coming up this piece of taxiway.
This is Thorpe's Abbotts. Original buildings, and they've got quite a museum here evidently. We'll check it out. This Quonset hut, and this is the 100th Bomb Group place where they were. And we're going to see a film later. They must change this every week. It says this week in 1944. On the 12th they went to Bremen, on the 15th to Cologne, on the 17th to Cologne. And the good news was they had no losses. Here's a model of what this looked like during the war. All the airplanes out of here had a D on the tail and the wing, so they knew who belonged to which group. Where we were this morning, they had a J. Here's a model of the control tower during the war. This is technical supply. And over here, it says, before new parts will be issued, old parts must be turned in. We have a mock-up of a hospital room. The main sources of wounds, first was frostbite, and second was flak and shrapnel. Third was bullets and bullet fragments, and fourth was crashes and accidents. There's the tower of the cathedral in Bury St. Edmunds.
Oh. Yeah, I told him to take it out. Yeah, there's that famous. Yeah. Oh, no, more than that. You'd be in a crutch pot cookie.
At the Cambridge American Cemetery and Memorial on a misty day.
Right.
Right, good morning everyone. Welcome to Cambridge American Cemetery. We're actually part of the American Battle Monuments Commission, and what we do is we oversee and look after 26 cemeteries and 32 memorials outside of the United States.
Here's a
Bit frustrating.
Purple Heart that, of course, all of these people earned. Here's a book showing all the American overseas military cemeteries and memorials. Colin Powell said, "All we ask is a place to bury our dead. We were not involved in wars to gain territorial France." Belleau, there was action around Belleau Woods. One in England at Brookwood. Walkham. This is a Flanders Field Cemetery. That'd be World War I dead.
Finished up his tenure, they do 2 and go.
Sin.
2 years, and then they go to a new position.
(1941 to 45) on the Great Wall leading to the chapel are recorded the names of Americans who in this area of operation or in the water of the Atlantic gave their lives in the service of their country and who sleep in unknown graves. The missing, whose names are over here somewhere, I'm not going to get that close, are Glenn Miller and Joseph Kennedy, the older brother of John F. Kennedy. One of the statues on this wall, Live in Freedom, will be the reminder that to these men and their comrades we owe a debt to be paid with grateful remembrance of their sacrifice. I can't read the whole thing. Airman with his parachute on and some sort of a gun there. This one is a sailor, and the bell says USCG, that's the Coast Guard. They lost a terrible amount of men in the Battle of the Atlantic, escorting supply ships to Europe. Here are American servicemen whose families chose to have them remain here with their comrades. Many more were shipped home. We are on a beautiful autumn rainy day, but we have some nice fall foliage.
82 years ago today was one of the worst days, catastrophic days in the history of the United States Air Force. That was 2nd Schweinfurt on October 14th, 1943. There were over 600 airmen that were lost on that day. 60 heavy bombers and 14 fighters went down over the skies of Europe, and was certainly one of the most savage and brutal air campaigns or air battles of that time. Today, as we leave East Anglia, to pay respect not only to all that flew in the Mighty Eighth, all that served in World War II, but more importantly to the 3,811 graves in this sacred place. So, please, if you could, take this and please say your father's name. Good. Yep, that's great. Thank you, Bonnie. And now we will bow our heads and give our respects to these brave airmen servicemen.